All right, let's get right into it. Today we're cracking open the secret playbook of an absolute legend, David Ogilvy. And believe me, this isn't just a history lesson about old ads. This is a deep dive into the timeless, powerful principles of persuasion from the man who pretty much invented modern advertising as we know it.
And boom, right away, this quote gets to the absolute core of his philosophy. For Ogilvy, it was simple. Advertising has one job, and one job only: to sell. He didn't care how creative or artistic or funny an ad was. If it didn't actually move the product off the shelf, it was a failure. Full stop. It's all about information that leads to a saying.
So who was this David Ogilvy guy anyway? Well, he wasn't your typical slick ad executive. His journey to becoming the father of advertising was, well, it was weird. And that's exactly what gave him such a deep, profound understanding of what makes people tick.
What's so fascinating is how every single step of his career informed his advertising genius. Think about it. Working as a chef in a high-end Paris hotel taught him discipline and incredibly high standards. Then, selling heavy cookers door to door taught him what it actually takes to convince a real person to part with their hard-earned money. And finally, working with George Gallup, the polling pioneer, taught him the hardcore power of data and research. His ideas weren't just theories, they were forged in the real world.
And all of that real-world experience boiled down to this one unshakable belief. This is the absolute foundation of his entire method. It's step one, before you even think about writing a headline or choosing a picture. Which brings us right to his first great principle. Principle number 1, do your homework. It sounds so simple, right? But Ogilvy was absolutely fanatical about this. For him, this was the non-negotiable bedrock of any campaign that even hoped to be successful. And when Ogilvy said homework, he wasn't talking about a quick Google search. He meant you had to become a world-class expert on the product. You had to dissect every single ad your competitors were running, not to copy them, but to find the gaps, the opportunities they completely missed. You had to get inside the consumer's head. And crucially, you had to study direct response ads, the old mail-order ads with a coupon. Because that's the kind of advertising where you know immediately if it worked or not. For Ogilvy, the lesson was crystal clear. Knowledge is power.
So all that homework, that's your foundation. But what do you build on top of it? Well, that takes us straight to a second principle. Once the research is locked in, it's time to actually create something.
This is where the rubber meets the road. Ogilvy laid out a whole set of really specific, battle-tested rules for creating ads that don't just get your attention, but actually get you to open your wallet. And for him, everything, and I mean everything, started with the headline. He famously found that on average, 5 times as many people read the headline as read the rest of the ad. 5 times. Just think about that. If your headline doesn't grab them, you've basically wasted 80% of your money right off the bat. And this slide just perfectly shows the difference. Our new organic shampoo, okay, who cares? It's a label, it's boring. But the Ogilvy headline, it makes a promise, it offers a solution. It screams news and gives you a powerful reason to keep reading because it immediately answers the only question a reader ever has: what's in it for me?
His rules for the rest of the ad were just as sharp. Make the product the hero, not how clever your ad is. Write like you're talking to a friend over dinner. And here's a big one that surprises people. Don't be afraid of long copy. He proved again and again that if people are genuinely interested, they will read everything you give them. The more you tell, the more you sell. And finally, keep committees out of it. Great ideas always get watered down by consensus. But look, one great ad or even one great campaign wasn't enough for Ogilvy. He was always playing the long game. And that brings us to his third and maybe most strategic principle of all. This is where we zoom out from the individual ad and start talking about the big picture. This isn't about making a sale today. It's about building a relationship with your customers that can last for decades. It's about creating a true icon.
Ogilvy was a massive pioneer of this concept he called the brand image. He believed that a product wasn't just a collection of features. It was a character. It had a personality. And every single thing the customer experienced, from the name to the price to the packaging, and especially the advertising, all of it came together to build that personality.
This quote just says it all, doesn't it? You're never just making a one-off ad. You're making a long-term investment. Every single ad is another brick you're laying in the foundation of your brand's reputation. And that means consistency is absolutely everything. A huge part of building that brand is this idea of positioning. See, it's not enough to just exist. You have to decide what specific space you want to own inside your customer's mind. Are you the most luxurious, the most reliable, the best value?
You have to clearly define what your product does and exactly who it's for.
And really, all of this, the homework, the killer ads, the consistent brand image, it was all in service of finding what he famously called the big idea. That's that one creative, unforgettable, brilliant concept that is so powerful it can fuel a brand for 20, 30, even 40 years. Think about the Hathaway man with his mysterious eye patch. That's a big idea.
So you might be thinking, okay, this is cool, but this guy was at his peak in the Mad Men era. Why are we still talking about him? Well, because in today's incredibly noisy, fragmented, chaotic digital world, his core principles, clarity, research, respect for the consumer, and long-term thinking are more critical than they have ever been.
And get this, the man was practically a prophet. Just look at some of the predictions he made in his book back in 1983. He saw that ads would become more informative, not less. And this last one is just mind-blowing. He predicted that direct response, the measurable, accountable advertising he built his career on, would merge with general, big brand advertising. He basically predicted the entire business model of the internet. It's just incredible.
Which really leaves us with this one big thought to chew on. In a world of fleeting TikTok trends, AI-generated content, and information overload, is it possible that a return to these foundational principles, doing your homework, respecting the customer, and patiently building a consistent brand image is actually the most radical and effective strategy of all? It's definitely something to think about.